Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Ryan with BaldyLocks Stocks. Today I'm going to tell you how I made over $10,000 in one trade. Yep, that's right, one trade, KNDI, over 10 grand. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that subscribe button on the right to help us out to get our name out there. But let's go ahead and dig into what happened here. I've had a couple of people ask, how did I make my money? How do I find stocks? The first thing I'm going to talk about is our scanner. So this right here is a scanner that I've set up in Thinkorswim platform, and it tells me, kind of helps me run my pre-market. It runs gainers on intraday. This is the best way to find your stocks that are going to make your big money. That's going to pretty much running with the market, and all of your high-profile stock traders are using these type of scanners. They may have their own type of scanners. There's several different ones out there, Trade Ideas and several others, but it's the one that I use on this platform. It's easiest for me, so I can buy, I can trade, I can sell anything right here. So what I do have here is a 30% gainer. So I actually bought this intraday. So it was after the market had already started, as I was already going through the market day, and there happened to have a KNDI, and it hit my scanner on this left hand side, and it actually popped up. I have an alert on this left hand side that comes up whenever there's a increase in a significant increase, and at this time it jumped all the way up to 60% at that time. It's 140 showing here now. It was at over 60%. And what I do is whenever I click on it, I usually come up here and see what that news was. And I happen to look at the news of why it popped up on my scanner. And when it showed here what was going on with it. I'd never seen the stock, never heard of it before. But whenever I looked at it, I click on the news update, and it tells me that there was it's a launching of electric vehicles. It's an electric vehicle that's kind of up to the market. We've already got contracts, and so it surged basically within about 30 seconds. It went out at 40%. It halted, then it became unhalted, which means when there's too much volatility in the market, now it's at 60%. And so I looked at it. So I looked at the charts of where it was at, and I'm going to go to show you real quick. Basically, it was right here at this point in time. So this is whenever I saw it. It was going up. This is when it hit that 60%, and it was already at over $6 a share after I saw it. And if you know anything about how the resistance, I have another video that I'm going to show on resistances and supports to show you when you're supposed to buy, when not buy. And one thing I do know that every dollar or half dollar is a resistance. So it's a natural resistance. In this case, it was already in the mid 60s, $6. It broke that $7 range, and so that was my buy point. For me, you'll see later on it actually did dip that down, but for me, that natural $7 resistance was because if you go back even farther, you actually don't see anything over that $5. So at this point in time, you have to go by your natural resistance, which is your dollar resistance. Sometimes your 50 cent, depending on how low or high that penny stock is, or that $5 stock, or whatever it is. In this case, it's a multi-dollar stock, so it's usually done by the dollars. Anyways, I was able to buy in at $7 a share, and it did have a drawback, which worried me. I did not have my stop loss on at that time. I had 2,200 shares that I bought in at, but actually right after it started shooting, pretty well, and then during the end of the day, you can see where it was a little bit more volatile, but I was already up. I was already up pretty high, and ended up closing out the day at 140%. I'm sorry, during the intraday. And then of course after hours it shot up dramatically again. So let's look here in the after hours. You can see where it went crazy up, and I had my ticker ready to sell. I didn't end up selling. I wanted to sell. I was scared. There was no again. If you look all the way back, you don't see um, there's any indication of of support or resistance in this case. But again, that $15 a share is your natural. I should have sold then. I didn't, but I did hold on to it, and I currently hold on to it. So what I have now is I have a couple lines that I'm looking at here to see where's it going to go to next. That was that high point that's coming down, and you'll see where I did a couple of low bands. This is my support line, and right here, it's a little bit higher than that. So I probably could have moved that up a little bit, but this is where it started trending back up again. and it's creating more support. It did break that support line right here, which is at the very end, was about 7:30, 7:45, and they ended up, like I said, ended up pretty well right now at 12.55. I bought in at $7 a share, so I'm well over 10,000 into profit right now. Now, granted, I haven't sold yet, so we're going to see what it does tomorrow morning. But tomorrow morning, I can tell just by how the after hours are going that you can see that the momentum is definitely there. The volume is there, and people are really moving on to the stock. Most people were actually looking. I have another stock here, KODK. They were actually looking this for the last 3 days. This stock here went from $2 a share all the way up to $55 a share. I think maybe even a little bit more. It may have touched on 60 here if you look there. But then it dropped down. I actually watched this stock the entire time. I did not buy in. To me, it was just getting too volatile, and it was having so many halts. I think it had like 20 halts during that one stretch right there. I didn't want to get into it because that's where it's very lucrative, very volatile, and it's so easy to lose your money when it's something like that. So I would definitely be very cautious. Make sure you're paying attention if you do get into a stock like that. But in this case, I had a pretty good hand on where I was at with this stock, where it was going. Um, and I actually did have my trigger pretty fast. If it did dip too low, I was able to sell if I needed to. But again, with the aggression that was going, I felt that was and how it went into the end of the day. So a lot of times these stocks will really dip down when it had a big surge at 140%, like they're showing here. A lot of times they'll dip back down for the people that are selling off at the end of the day. But in this case, you'll see it really held steady, and at the end it began to rise, kept rising, went all the way up to almost $15 a share again, which is right at a natural support. People were trying to get out right before that $15. It did dip down a little bit, but tomorrow I have a really good feeling about tomorrow that it's going to continue to go up. But if not, I can promise I'm going to have my stop losses set pretty tight. I don't want to lose any gains that I've already made. Um, but again, that's a few examples of how this stock can really blow up if you get into the run of it. How you can make some great money doing it. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And I have more videos coming in. Check my resistance and supports that'll really teach you your charts and know when to buy, when to sell. And for now, that's a wrap.